Hello and welcome to GCS Today here on Channel 21, the program that brings you news and information from Gaston County Schools. I'm Todd Hagans. On today's episode, we talk with North Gaston High School teacher Milton Villarroel about his involvement in the International Observe the Moon Night program. Plus, we spend time with Wanda Marlowe of Catawba Heights Elementary School to find out what it is like to be the Gaston County Teacher Assistant of the Year. Joining me on GCS Today is Milton Villarroel, the Spanish teacher at North Gaston High School, and also selected as a presenter for the NASA Science International Observe the Moon Night program. Milton, it is great to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine.
Okay, let's talk about the International Observe the Moon Night program. Tell us about your involvement in that program and what did you enjoy most about it?
Well, NASA has always been, a plan in my life, and this time I was glad that they were looking for information internationally. And of course, I took the opportunity to share not just one, but two stories, hoping that they would choose one or the other. But they loved them and they chose both of them. So the first one was aired like 2 Saturdays ago, and in the main event, they aired the second one.
So let's talk about those two presentations. Tell us about them, and what are some of the highlights of those presentations?
In South America, the Inca culture thrived in the Andes Mountains, and they, of course, had astronomy without any enhancement, no telescopes of any kind, and so they just observed, the moon, the sun, and other planets that we can see without any telescopes. And of course, they started wondering what they would be, right? And so the two myths are about, for example, one is how the moon got all these shadows that we see on a beautiful moon. By the way, today is a full moon, so everybody will have a chance to see the shadows in the moon. The second one talks about what the moon was made of, right? And to the Inca, the moon was made of silver. And that silver poured into the mountains of the Andes as teardrops of the moon. They thought the moon was a goddess. And all that mythology is expressed in these two presentations I gave NASA.
So the audience for those presentations, when people watch your presentations, what do you hope that they learn from them?
Well, one of the first things that I really enjoyed was when they asked me to do the presentation in Spanish. I said, wouldn't you like an English version better? And they said, no, we want, our people not only to learn about the myth, but also maybe a few words in Spanish. So besides, the myth, I would like the audience to realize that those stories come from cultures very far away, but at the same time, everybody sees the moon. So there is something that unites us.
Okay, so you teach Spanish at North Gaston. So explain to me how a Spanish teacher gets involved with a NASA program that is related to science.
Okay, well, nothing happens from one day to the next. This has been, going on in my life. When I was a kid, I really wanted to work in space industry or anything. But being born in a country where we don't have a space program, it was very, very hard, and it didn't take me long to realize that I was never going to make it. So I turned this into my hobby. I pursued a different career. Teaching was my second passion, I would say, and it's always been like that. But besides that, my hobby has been space and science and all that. And I simply joined those two together. I belong to an astronomy club called SLU, All right, and this club is also into teaching people about space, and little by little they saw the potential in me of becoming an ambassador. I am very happy to say that through that ambassadorship I have been able to talk to different people about space and all that. And I even teach my students, for example, the origin of Spanish names for the days of the week. For example, today is Thursday. In Spanish, it's jueves, and it really goes into with the planet Jupiter. And so some of that always blends in my lessons. Now, the relationship with NASA is also something you build little by little. I was happy to participate in a group of judges that gave our last Mars rover its name, Perseverance. And, participating in that also gave me the traction, let's say, to continue working with them. And the SLU platform was the platform that put me together with them. And they asked me for stories which I could provide, and so it was just adding one thing after the other until I could finally make it.
So you also had a role in North Gaston High School, being recognized as a member of the United Nations Global Schools Program. And I understand that North Gaston is the only it's the only school in the state to earn this honor. So tell us about this program and how it benefits North Gaston.
It's a program that started when the United Nations realized that we have a very specific agenda to fulfill before the year 2030. One of those 17 objectives or sustainable development goals is precisely education. Back in 2019, I was happy to have been chosen to present at this convention in New York City. And since then, I have participated virtually after COVID in the same program every year. Then, the opportunity came to be selected as one of the few teachers, let's say, who could take this program into action, right? What I did was to apply. I was selected. They gave us some training. And after that, they taught us how to implement those goals into our lessons. Now, I teach Spanish, as you know, and as a language teacher, we usually touch different topics. And so among the 17 goals, we have better health, equality for all genders. We have sustainable economy. We have preserving life on Earth, beneath the ocean, justice, and strengthening our, our institutions, let's say. And so all of those elements blend into these sustainable development goals that we sometimes have to touch in the language classroom. So it was just a matter of time. I got selected, and when we did, we became actually the first school in the county and in the state to have achieved that honor. Now, my work as an ambassador for global schools also radiates to other schools that I have in the area. And I really thank you very much for this opportunity, because I would like to invite other teachers to do the same for their schools. What is the benefit of this? Well, for one thing, North Gaston was also the first high school to ever participate in one of these events. And so our name is resonating. And, when it comes to, for example, giving presentations, we get first invitations to all those events, right? There has been an event about preservation of life in the oceans, for example, which our students get invitations to before any other school in the area. So I urge everybody to go into globalschoolsprogram.org and get information so that they can also bring their schools together. Together, we want to create a better environment for children, for the society, and we want to make it so that we can guarantee our next generation the same rights to the resources we've had so far.
Now, North Gaston has the Gaston County Schools Leadership Academy. And this program, I think, lends itself very well to the Leadership Academy because you want your students to be leaders today, but you also are preparing them to be leaders for tomorrow. And I think that fits very well with the goals and the objectives that are trying to be accomplished through the Global Schools program.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, as a teacher, we receive all this training, we receive all the input we can. But sometimes, we need to see how far we can go. And I would probably say that was one of the triggers that encouraged me to try this. I said, if I put all those lessons into practice and I go and contact, let's say, the United Nations or NASA or any other institution, let's see how far I can go. And it clearly has shown me that, yes, if you put your time and effort into this, your leadership lessons into practice, you can definitely achieve many things, in this regard. And yeah, when I show my students any of these programs, they too get involved and they want to know more. And so I think we are taking leadership now to the practice more than just talking about it.
So let's talk a little bit about your education story. What do you enjoy most about teaching, and who or what inspired you to become a teacher?
That's a nice question. I think what inspired me to become a teacher is the school itself. I always tell my students, I love school so much I never left, except for the time I needed the training, let's say. So to me, what goes on in the school is really a strong motivator. I started very early, believe me. I started teaching English in my native Bolivia. And I climbed the ladder, eventually became a supervisor of 20 teachers. And that gave me all the tools, let's say, to pursue bigger objectives. I am here now teaching Spanish and being part of the World Languages department in my school. And I put everything I learned in, teaching my students English and now into teaching my students Spanish. And I couldn't be happier to share the language I speak with my kids, to meet them every day, to tell them stories, to teach them about another part of the world is probably the most motivating thing day to day. A lot of them, are surprised by the stories I bring to them, by the lessons, and I know that what I'm giving them is a tool that will open many doors for them in the future. I think that motivates me more every day.
Okay, so if I asked your students about you, what do you think that they would say about? And as you said, they call you Mr. V. What would your students say about Mr. V?
Wow. I hope they will say that my classes inspire them. I hope that they will say that they enjoy the lessons. I try to make my lessons as useful as possible. For example, this morning we were learning how to ask directions, for example, in a new city. We are soon going to learn about ordering food in a restaurant. So these lessons are about surviving in a new community, let's say. And so I want my students to think that I am giving them a tool that will connect them to the rest of the world. I hope that they understand that each of these lessons also gives them the potential opportunities to, get better jobs, get better opportunities, and be the bridge that connects their culture with the rest of the world.
Well, we certainly appreciate what you're doing at North Gaston in your classroom. And we also appreciate the extra efforts you are taking to connect your students to programs outside the classroom, such as the program with NASA Science, with the Global Schools program. So I want to say thank you for that, and not only teaching your students what is required, but also going the extra effort to teach them about their community and how to be a leader now and a leader for the future. So thank you very much for that. Milton Villarroel, the Spanish teacher at North Gaston High School. It is great to see you, and we appreciate you taking time today to be with us here on GCS Today.
Oh, the pleasure has been all mine. Your words only encourage me to work harder and better. So a big shout out to all my students, families, and to the whole community in Dallas and Gastonia.
You're watching GCS Today here on Channel 21. Stay with us. Our interview with the Gaston County Teacher Assistant of the Year is next.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Joining me on GCS Today is Wanda Marlowe. She is a teacher assistant at Catawba Heights Elementary School, and she is the Gaston County Teacher Assistant of the Year. Wanda, it is great to see you, and congratulations on this honor.
Thank you so much, Todd. Nice to see you too.
Okay, so let's start.
Okay.
Tell us, how does it feel to be the Gaston County Teacher Assistant of the Year?
It's a little unreal. I don't really have words. It's, besides that day, and then every now and then somebody will say, hey, congratulations. It's just been the everyday thing, the kids, they don't recognize it. So, when you're in kindergarten, it's not a big thing. They celebrate everything. So, but it's a good feeling to be recognized by my peers for doing a good job. So that's been a really good feeling about receiving the award.
We had a big celebration back over the summer at Caramont Health Park when we had the announcement of our of the year winners. And of course, you were announced as our Teacher Assistant of the Year. What was it like hearing your name called during that program?
That was unreal. I was so caught off guard. I do my job every day, not expecting anything extra besides the appreciation of the kids and, of course, my peers. So I was a little caught off guard. I didn't prepare anything, but it was a good feeling. I was pleasantly surprised.
So tell us about your work at Catawba Heights. What is your role as a teacher assistant, and what do you enjoy most about your work?
My role is to back up my teacher. Whatever she's doing, I'm here to basically enhance, where she has a plan. And my job is just to make sure that at the end of the day, we get that plan accomplished. So if it's reading, then we're at that together. If I need to do a small group to help kids that are struggling, then that's what I do. So we work together as a team, and I'm thankful that I have a teacher who appreciates and respect what I do enough to let me be her backup. Um, so, uh, when they say teacher assistant, it's everything. We do it all. The reading, the nursing, um, the handwriting. We try to. She gives me responsibilities that I can call my own, which is very important to anybody that's in the classroom. But as a teacher assistant, I just feel like she's given me that opportunity to take a major role in her classroom, and in that it becomes our classroom. And then here at the school, we have other responsibilities. I help with the buses and so forth. And believe it or not, some of it is, minor, but major for me. I love doing the buses because I get to see all the kids. So I get to let them know, that I look forward to seeing them the next day. I always ask them if they had a good day. So it's all important, in its own way.
Well, I think that the teacher assistant is responsible for providing support, not only for the teacher, but you provide support for the classroom and the students in that classroom, and you provide support for the entire school. So your role really extends beyond the classroom.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, we're all over the building. There's days when, we're in the classroom. If we need to go to an upper grade, because I am in kindergarten, but if we need assistance in an upper grade, I don't mind going there. Like I said, bus duty, that's one of our responsibilities. And we take it all serious because it is part of what we do. It's part of the kids making their environment educational and safe. So I do enjoy every facet of my job. Yes.
So, Wanda, what is your education story? I understand. I want to share this about you because I think this is really interesting. I understand that you were an active parent volunteer in our schools before you became a teacher assistant, and that led you to thinking about working as a teacher assistant. So did you ever think that you would take a job working in a school?
No. I was an active volunteer for 12 years. My children started in 2004 at Gaston County. I have a son that's 26 now, but was always in the building, PTO, room mom, if they needed somebody to come and do anything, help with book fairs, help in the classroom. It was important to have an active role in what my children were doing in the building that they were in. Sometimes it meant in the classroom, sometimes it meant outside of the classroom. But the more I was in the building, the more I wanted to be part of the success of my children's education. And so after 13 years of volunteering, the opportunity came for a teacher assistant. And it didn't take me long. I thought about it for a very short time, but was very excited to be given that opportunity. And I started off in second grade. And then the opportunity came for me to come to kindergarten. And I was all too excited. And it has been the most rewarding. I didn't, like I said, never thought about being a teacher, never thought about being a TA. I went to school for engineering. I did some time in the military. So teacher was never on my radar. And now I don't see any other profession for me besides what I'm doing.
And I think it's amazing your connection to the schools and the connection that you've had with your children's education and being connected to their schools. It says a lot about you as a person, and it says a lot about you as a parent, and we really appreciate that about you. We appreciate that you understand why our schools are important, and we appreciate you wanting to do everything that you can do to help. And we love having you at Catawba Heights as a teacher assistant, because we know that you do a lot of good work there, and you're well liked, and we know you work hard. So thank you for all of that, Wanda.
Thank you.
So let's talk about, what does Wanda like to do for fun outside of schools?
Oh.
What are some of your hobbies and interests?
Well, I'm a crafter. I'm well known at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. Those are my favorite places. And I make T-shirts. Anything crafty, I enjoy it. And then spending time with my family. Like I said, I have 3 children. I have a junior at Ashbrook right now. She stays very busy, which makes me very busy. So when I'm not at the band or cheerleading, then I'm normally doing craft projects at home. Yeah.
So we know that the pandemic, it has affected all of our schools.
Yes.
And we know that there have been challenges. But what have you done to help overcome some of those challenges, and to make sure that the school year is meaningful and it's a wonderful experience for your students?
Well, last year was very challenging, not only as a teacher assistant, but as a parent, because we were all nervous about coming back into the unknown. And I had to make a decision as a parent, looking at it as, I have to trust the teacher to make sure my kid gets the proper education, because I was asking parents to trust me as a teacher. So I had to make that same decision. And then what we decided was that we were going to make it as normal as possible for the children. So what we started virtually, with the kids starting at the 2-day on and then 2 days off, was making sure there was a connection, not only virtually, but when they were in the classroom, to connect them to the kids that weren't here. So we started a relationship with our cohort A and cohort B kids, not only virtually. So this way, when we finally did get together, they weren't strangers. And it's amazing how, as parents, if we set the tone for how our children accept things, then it's easier for them. So it was very positive. We didn't want them to be afraid of anything. So we had a virtual pumpkin patch trip. We set up pumpkins in our outside our classroom so that the kids can go on a field trip. We made believe we were riding a bus. We took nature walks because we wanted it to be as normal as possible for them. We didn't want them to feel like they were missing out on learning anything. And it made a huge difference, because at the end of the day, they still needed to love coming to school, love being in the building, and not fearful of, what was going on. And then this year has been the same thing. These kids, the changes haven't took over the natural of being in the school. It's stressing the reading, just, taking the time to take them outside on nature walks, things that can be done regardless of what our situations are.
So as a parent and as a teacher assistant, what advice would you give to parents? What do you want parents to know about school, and what do you want your parents to know specifically about Catawba Heights Elementary School?
About school is to be involved. You don't always have to be in the building, but to be actively involved in your children's education. Be actively involved in your children's school, because they do spend a lot of time in the building. And it's really important to know what is going on in the building and what you can do to help. Because everybody has a gift. Every parent has a gift. And it may be carpentry, it may be reading to the class. Sometimes we can't all be in the building, but even reading to your child's class virtually, So the more involved you are in your children's education, the more they feel connected to not only the school, but at home. It becomes a partnership. And here at Catawba Heights, we have taken the responsibility of not letting everybody in the building, but connecting to the parents virtually so that they feel like they're still part of what we're doing inside the building. And then just letting the kids know that, sometimes challenges happen. It doesn't stop us from being who we are. It doesn't stop us from being successful. And I think that is the most important thing here at Catawba Heights. We strive for excellence, and we want our kids to have a strong foundation, and we want them to believe that they can be successful regardless. And that is the most important thing, and that they know that we care about their education. We want them to be successful, well-educated children, and they know that because we share the most important things with them every single day.
Well, Wanda, we know that you are awesome, and we know that you are making a difference, and we know that you are giving so much to help students in Gaston County Schools. So we want to say how much we appreciate that. We want to congratulate you again on being named the Gaston County Teacher Assistant of the Year. And we want to say thank you for taking time to be with us today here on GCS Today.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you for watching GCS Today here on Channel 21. Before we go, we would like to recognize Rankin Elementary student Brenton Clark, who was involved in a Discovery Education Hands-on STEM special. He was featured in a video segment with a Microsoft program manager and was able to ask several questions. We also would like to recognize Brookside Elementary third grader Josie Norris, who had her poem titled Snow published in the Young American Poetry Digest. And we want to congratulate Carr Elementary teacher Zachary Splone, who was selected as a Top 10 Teacher of the Week by FSI Office and the Carolina Panthers. Stay tuned to Channel 21 for the latest news and information from Gaston County Schools. For GCS Today, I'm Todd Higgins. We look forward to seeing you next time.